New patch means new addition to the best solo carry champions, as we're set to share with you all the 3 strongest picks for every single role to climb ranked the fastest for 11.15. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description for a special discount. Alright, let's get started. Is a season of League actually complete unless Tahm Kench top lane emerges as one of the most broken picks? Apparently not, as Tahm has made his way out of the sewer and is slapping all the meta picks. In short, the buffs to his passive and Q from 11.14 have given Tahm so much strength as a solo laner. Extra damage on Q combined with the added heal makes his laning phase very oppressive. The change to Tahm's W is amazing, as it allows him to set up ganks extremely well and rotate to skirmishes before the enemy laner. The Anathema's Chain's introduction is another factor influencing Tahm's power level, as it's slotting in perfectly as a core item. Matchup-wise, Tahm is seeing great success across the board into the most played top laners like Aurelia and Set. Shen and Mundo are 2 of his weaker matchups right now, so if you're looking for a ban, we would advise either or. A sample build is Anathema's into Frostfire Gauntlet 2nd and Thornmail 3rd. Spirit Visage can be purchased in place of Thornmail against heavier AP comps. For your runes, grab Grasp of the Undying with Shield Bash, Second Wind and Overgrowth. Secondaries are Triumph and Alacrity. Our second solo carry top laner, who's been a staple in our top 3 for a while now, is Set. Unlike Garen and Darius, Set has remained a strong pick despite the Stridebreaker changes, as he's transitioned over to Gore Drinker, which has worked out perfectly. Gore Drinker passive grants you bonus AD, the lower health you are, which means W damage will be completely nuts if you've got Grit fully stacked and you're low on HP. Set is such a pain to deal with if you give him any kind of advantage, as his 1v2 power is insanely good. Massive damage potential and shield from W allows him to turn what may seem to be a doomed situation into game-winning outplays. Set's so reliable as well due to his relatively simplistic kit, which helps greatly in being able to extend the lead. Most painful matchup for Set in 11.15 is Tahm Kench, and with his play rate rising, we would recommend using your ban on Tahm. Core build is Gore Drinker into Sterix Gauge and Titanic Hydra. Stridebreaker is still a viable rush if you value the slow from passive, but more and more players prefer Gore Drinker right now. Rune Page is Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Second Wind and Revitalize are the 2 most optimal secondaries. Camille is back in a great slot for solo queue and is our 3rd solo carry selection for 11.15. In fact, Camille becomes even stronger this patch due to the Hullbreaker buffs. Sterix is still the optimal 3rd purchase in most games, but if your win condition is built around split pushing, Camille sees even more strength this patch. Camille has been loving the Divine Sunderer buffs from a few patches back, which is the main reason why she's in a godlike state. Tahm or Shen are who we'd recommend choosing between for your ban this patch. There are a few variations to your Camille build, so look to adjust based on the game and preference. The durable teamfight oriented setup is Divine Rush into Titanic Hydra 2nd and Sterix 3rd. For a bursty split push build, rushing Trinity into Ravenous Hydra and Hullbreaker can work too. For the Keystone, pick up Grasp followed by Shield Bash, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth. Secondary runes are Magical Footwear and Biscuits. With Viego dropping out of the top 3 due to his nerfs, we have Kha'Zix claiming his solo carry spot. Kha'Zix is a great hard carry jungler, as his snowball potential is unmatched, while being able to one-shot with point-and-click damage leaves the enemy with little counterplay. Ka is a very interesting jungler right now, as there are many different playstyles, which makes him quite versatile. If against a bunch of squishies, then going full-on lethality and one-shotting everyone is ideal. A Duskblade into the Collector and Edge of Night is a sample assassin build. Bruiser is in a great situation where the enemy comp is tankier, or you just want a more durable skirmish-focused setup. This build revolves around Gore Drinker into Serpent's Fang and Black Cleaver. When playing Bruiser Ka, you want to take Conqueror as the keystone with Triumph, Tenacity, and Coup de Grace. Secondaries are Sudden Impact and Ravenous Hunter. Assassin Kha'Zix can take Dark Harvest or Electrocute. Electro is going to give you more early game burst and ability to take out that one target, while Dark Harvest scales better in extended fights. Even though the Stridebreaker nerfs removed Nock from his giga-busted state, our analysts still rate the Eternal Nightmare as a great top 3 carry pick. Even with the Stridebreaker nerfs, you're still able to stick onto enemies extremely well and find easy kills whenever ult is available. Ultimate into Stridebreaker active is such an easy to execute noob-friendly combo that will lead to lots of elo. A long-range pick tool like Nocturne ult is so great for solo queue, where the enemy will make constant positional errors that you can punish in an instant. The core build for Nock is really simple, as a Stridebreaker into Sterix and Guardian Angel will be the go-to for most games. Pick up Lethal Tempo as the keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Be sure to take Ultimate Hunter and secondaries along with Sudden Impact. Without any follow-up Xin Zhao nerfs, he once again takes home another feature as a priority solo carry jungler. Nerf to W last patch was relatively negligible, so you should continue to spam Xin to collect those free wins. Xin's strong dueling power, great access into fights, and disruption with ultimate provide you with a really nice, well-rounded kit for solo queue. The meta build of Gore Drinker and Essence Reaver feels great to play as you have some sneaky burst, but are also quite difficult to take down. Once you complete Asteric's third item, the survivability for late game teamfights is amazing. You do have the option to completely bypass Essence Reaver if you're looking for a full-on bruiser setup. This build consists of a Gore Drinker in Asteric second and Guardian Angel third. Conqueror is heavily outperforming Halo Blades these days as the keystone. Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand round out the primaries. As for secondary, Page roll with Free Boots and Cosmic Insight. LeBlanc mains were handed the short end of the stick for the majority of Season 11, but that's finally starting to change. LeBlanc is back in a great spot and rising in priority even further with Silas nerfed in 11.15. The Q buff from 11.8 along with the mage item buffs a few patches back have been monumental in LeBlanc's resurgence. Believe it or not, dating back to Season 9, LeBlanc has been buffed in 9 different ways, so it's about time she starts seeing some success. The long-range mobility and one-shot potential are what make LeBlanc so lethal for solo queue, as you can set up so many pick plays from Fog of War and catch the enemy out before they have time to react. Kassadin is a good ban if you're unsure of who to use it on. Although Everfrost was meta on LeBlanc earlier in the season, most players are liking Luden's Rush in 11.15 for more one-shot and 1v9 power. Luden's players are even winning about 2% more than Everfrost users, so if you're still building Everfrost, give Luden's a shot. Cosmic Drive's second item and Zanya's third is standard stuff. Run Electrocute as the keystone with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter. Secondaries are very preference-based as you can go Inspiration for early sustain or Sorcery for stronger scaling. Talon is without a doubt the best AD assassin for solo queue right now, even though you don't really build him like one. Mid lane in solo queue is all about that early priority, possessing a strong skirmish and great roaming potential. Talon has all that and more, which is why we rate him in the top 3. Rushing Iron Spike Whip combined with the AoE damage from W allows Talon to insta-clear waves and start parkouring around the map with his E. Matchup-wise for Talon, LeBlanc is super annoying and picked at a high rate, so she would be our ban recommendation. The meta build of the moment is a Gore Drinker Rush into Black Cleaver second and Sterix third. Serpent's Fang is a good purchase in games where the enemy comp has something like an Ivern and Lulu. Run Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand for primary runes. Best secondary pages Eyeball Collector and Ravenous Hunter. Completing the trifecta for mid lane is another snowbally assassin in Katarina. Running Ignite and Teleport offers Kat the best of both worlds, as she can fish for early kills while being able to reset the lane if things get dicey. One kill is all it takes for Kat to completely run away with the game. The map impact you have from Teleport will allow you to clean up fights that break out in the side lanes, pushing you to your mid-game spike super quick. Kat's premier skirmish power on top of her great roaming potential make her such a desirable pick. Kassadin or Vladimir are two mid laners we would recommend you choose between for your ban when playing Kat. The core build is Nashor's Tooth into Riftmaker and Zanya's if you want a skirmish focused setup. For one-shot burst power, rush Rocket Belt into Nashor's and Zanya's. Runes are preference based as Electrocute and Conqueror are very strong on Kat. If you want more upfront burst, run Electrocute, and if you favor sustained damage, then grab Conqueror. Let's break down our top 3 bot lane carries of 11.15, first starting with Ashe. Now, you might be wondering, well, why is Ashe moving up this patch without any direct buffs or changes? Her rise is very similar to Kog'Maw's, as it's solely based on a brand new build and rune page giving Ashe a ton of strength. We featured this setup in our Korean builds video yesterday, being a Wit's End rush into a Kraken Slayer second and Rage Blade third. Wit's End being so cheap and cost effective makes it a very underrated item. Ashe doesn't have the luxury of a blink or gap closer like many other marksmen, so choosing a more defensive item like Wits helps her survive longer in fights. You can build Shield Bow second as well to further amplify that tankiness. Hail of Blades is the keystone you'll want to run, especially when building Kraken Slayer, as the 3 quick autos synergize perfectly with Kraken passive. HOB is just so great in general on Ashe because when you find a pick with ultimate, you want as much burst as possible to take the enemy out before the stun expires. The craziest thing about the bot lane meta right now is that the strongest champion isn't even a traditional marksman. Ziggs holds down his spot in our top 3 for yet another patch and continues to bomb past the rest of the ADCs in strength. It all started with the direct buffs from 11.12 and snowballed even further with the mage item buffs. The perma poke and wave clear from Q, ability to demolish towers and follow up with a ton of burst when paired with the CC support make Ziggs a very reliable pick. Even if your support sucks, the long range from Q lets you sit back at a safe range and pick up farm to scale into the mid game. This gives Ziggs a huge edge up on traditional marksmen as they're way more reliant on their support's pressure to secure last hits. Core build is Liandry's into Demonic Embrace and Zanya's. If you're against a full-on squishy enemy comp, then going Ludens into Archangels and Horizon Focus is viable as well. You'll want to take Comet as the keystone with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch. Free Boots and Biscuits are the most optimal secondaries. One thing 2 of the strongest AD carries have in common at the moment is they rush the exact same item. Cog was the original Wits End abuser and is holding strong as a top tier bot lane carry for multiple patches in a row. Tank Cog has brought life back into the champion and has turned him into a very scary solo queue pick. Absorbing an Assassin's combo while being able to deal immense DPS shouldn't be legal, but it is with this setup. Support meta is way too perfect for Cog in 11.15, as we continue to see Lulu, Karma, and Yuumi played more than any other supports. Full build is Wits End Rush, Hurricane 2nd, and Randuin's 3rd. For runes, grab Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter are the best secondaries. To improve your rank as a support in 11.15, learn the way of the crank. Blitz buffs are massive as you have 20 extra damage on Q and are more difficult to take down due to the bonus armor. Those situations where the enemy escapes with a sliver of health after you hit a godlike hook in lane will occur a little less frequently now. Shirelia's Rush becomes even more favorable than Locket this patch due to Blitz QAP ratio buff. Capitalizing on those pick plays in the mid game becomes more reliable, which is super awesome. You got options for the rush item between Locket and Shirelia's. If snowballing early on, then grab Shirelia's, but if you're even or behind, Locket is the better defensive pickup. Opt for Guardian as the keystone with Demolish, Conditioning, and Overgrowth. Biscuits and Cosmic Insight are great for secondaries. Another aggressive playmaking support you should consider adding to your champion pool for 11.5 is Leona. All the crowd control and long-range pick potential make Leona a very rewarding support to climb with. Being able to pull the trigger and engage as soon as you see the enemy caught out of position will result in extremely positive outcomes. Many high elo Leona players are really liking the new Anathemas chains as a second purchase. Some are even rushing it, but it seems like a Locket into Anathemas is proving to be extremely consistent at the moment. Reducing the enemy's tenacity by 20% from the Anathemas passive gives Leona even more insane chain CC lockdown. Your rune page is Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Optimal secondaries are Hex Flash and Biscuits. Alright Riot, it's gone a little too far at this point now. A nerf to Lulu surely has to be in the cards sometime soon. Lulu has been the longest standing champion in our top 3 for all roles combined. Over 2 months of complete domination as a top tier support. That's if you even have a chance to lock her in, as Lulu is banned in over 50% of games as of the making of this video. In short, if Lulu is left open, grab yourself some free elo. Lulu already has so much protection built into her kit, and then when Riot decided to buff Shirelia's to give a load of extra move speed, it made her completely broken. If you can play a decent Lulu and stand by your carries, there should be no way an Assassin or Dive champion takes out your back line. After rushing Shirelia's, pick up an Ardent Sensor. Your third item will be very situational. Chemtech, Staff of Flowing Water, and Mikael's are all great options. Guardian is Lulu's best keystone when you're laning against an aggressive melee support, while Aerie works best in double ranged matchups. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little bit more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's kinda like if a gym membership guaranteed that you'll get ripped. Your gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into Elo Hell 629 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you're serious about improving. Alright, that's going to be all for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back soon.